Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is SJP, host of the SJP Files podcast, The Sports Report, and today is a very special day in the history of the podcast because today is the first day where we're recording a episode on Spreaker. We've moved over from Anchor to Spreaker, so what is this? This is episode 30. Episode 30 is on Spreaker today. And episode 30 is also most likely going to give us our 100th listen of the podcast. I know 100 listens so far. I'm still trying to grow this show. It's not the biggest day in the podcast history. Biggest day in the podcast history was, I'm trying to remember, this was like 4 weeks ago when we had about 30 listens in a day, which is kind of wild. But listenership has steadily grown. Well, not steadily, but it's grown slightly since episode, I want to say 20. It's about episode 20. We've had some more listenership. Once again, if you do like this show, like, subscribe, and share. Let people see, people know that there's a new sports podcast out in the ether. But today is also a day where we're going to bring out something very special. This is a topic I've never actually hit in the history of doing this podcast. This is an episode I've never hit before. This is a topic I've never actually hit before, and that is mixed martial arts. Now, some people don't know, I am a very big mixed martial arts fan. I was one of those guys. I got into mixed martial arts around the first Ultimate Fighter. With the first Ultimate Fighter, I watched the entire first season. I watched, Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonnar beat the ever-living shit out of each other and both get contracts. I watched Diego Nightmare Sanchez destroy whoever the hell he was actually fighting, whose name never is remembered throughout history. I watched him destroy that dude at the time. Nate, I believe at the time, Nate was like a middleweight. And then eventually, because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, the first season of The Ultimate Fighter was light heavyweight and middleweight. So I believe Nate was a middleweight going into that series and then became a welterweight and then became a lightweight. But where he found most of his success, never rose to the level of champion. Stephan Bonnar also was never a guy who rose to the level of champion. But Forrest Griffin did win the UFC light heavyweight championship. He won it and then lost it. I don't think he ever actually had a successful title defense with the UFC championship. But that's not why we're here today. I'm giving a quick breakdown of UFC 261. Now, over the past few years, I've drifted away from mixed martial arts. Still a fan. I still watch some of the big fights, but it's been a long time since I watched a full card. And with COVID, I still watch big fights. I still know who a lot of the big fighters are, like Israel Adesanya. My big I fucking love Izzy. Will always love Izzy. But sorry, got distracted for a second. But you had they are the last card. The main card of this fight was very, very. I stuck to the main card. I didn't watch the early prelims on UFC Fight Pass or the prelims on ESPN Plus or ESPN. I stuck to the main card. This was a very entertaining card. When I got home, I think I was working that day. When I got home, I found the stream, and I started watching it. And we had 5 fights in this division. We had 5 fights on this card. Anthony Smith versus Jim Crute was the opener for the main card. Then you had Chris Weidman. Then you had Uriah Hall and former former middleweight champion Chris Weidman. Then you had former flyweight champion Jessica Andrade. No, former, not flyweight, strawweight. Former, what? God damn it. Former strawweight champion Jessica Andrade taking on flyweight queen Valentina Shevchenko. Then you had Thug Rose Namajunas taking on Wei Li Zhang for the UFC women's strawweight title. The former champion Rose, the current champion Wei Li Zhang. I forgot what her nickname is. Wei Li. Completely forgot what her nickname was. But you had Jorge Masvidal, and in the main event was Jorge Masvidal taking on the welterweight king Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman. Now, like I said, I do know a lot of these fighters. I watch big fights. I haven't watched a full card in, I want to say, 4 or 5 years. But this crowd was completely bumping from start to finish. You had, this was like the first major sporting event, aside from WrestleMania, first major sporting event, which packed, sold out house. Indoors, WrestleMania was outdoors, but this was the first indoor with about 15,000 fans in Jacksonville. Beginning of the night, like I said, Anthony Smith versus Jim Crute. This fight ended the first 2 fights ended with serious injuries. Well, not serious injuries. The first fight, Anthony Smith against Jim Crute. Smith hit Crute with a low leg kick, like right behind the knee. I don't know if it hit a nerve, and Jim Crute's leg kind of just deaded right there. It looked like he lost all feeling. His leg just completely deaded. And credit to him, he finished the first round, and he took Smith down and tried to, beat up on him. But in between the rounds, the doctors checked out his leg. My man could not stand up on it. He couldn't really move that well. Doctor asked him to move forward. Looked like he was going well, and then when he started to move back, it looked like his ankle kind of buckled. Like when your leg falls asleep. That's essentially what happened. When your leg falls asleep, you got no blood flow in there. It's just essentially asleep. His leg is dead, and ref calls it stoppage to the fight. Anthony Smith wins. It's not much to that one. That was one of those, man. I feel bad for the kid, but it's kind of what happened, man. I really feel bad for the kid, but shit really it really sucks. It sucks, I think, because I think Crute was, he's young, he's getting in there. But next fight was Chris Weidman and Uriah Hall. Now this fight ended 17 seconds into the first round when Chris Weidman threw a low leg kick. Uriah Hall checked it, and Chris Weidman snapped his fucking leg. I mean, it just snapped. It happened like right above the ankle. That thing just snapped. And while this thing is, Chris Weidman has been a part of 2 of these. 2 of the 3 in UFC history. The first one happened to a guy who used to be on The Ultimate Fighter. He was on one of the earlier seasons. He was like a 6'3", 6'4", lightweight. His name was Corey Hill, I believe. And he, once again, threw a leg kick, check. His leg snapped. Chris Weidman, same thing happened to him and Anderson Silva in their rematch. I don't remember if the fight was for I don't remember if that particular fight was for the middleweight championship. I don't think Chris Weidman held the title for an extended period of time, so he might have already lost it by the time him and Anderson Silva met for their second fight. But Silva threw a kick, Weidman checked it, Silva's leg snapped. Same thing happened here. Chris Weidman threw a low leg kick at the beginning of this fight. I think this was the first leg kick. Uriah Hall checked it and snapped this dude's leg in half. Unlike the other 2 fighters, when Hill and Silva broke their legs, they almost immediately felt it. When Weidman broke his leg, he didn't feel it. His leg, when he tried to put some weight back on it, it was just like his leg was on the outside of his body, and he kind of just stepped on like the stump, and that's when he felt it, and it was over. That was the first two fights. The first two fights were relatively, they both ended with injury. Jim Crute's leg deaded on him, and Chris Weidman snapped his leg. And I know Uriah Hall, this was their second fight, and Uriah Hall was definitely looking for some get back because Weidman beat him the first time on Weidman's way to the, about 10 years ago, at Weidman's way to the UFC Middleweight Championship. And we have our 3 championship fights. You had former UFC strawweight champion Jessica Andrade taking on flyweight queen Valentina Shevchenko. Sorry about that. Where was I? Yes. Jessica Andrade against Valentina Bullet Shevchenko. Now, Valentina put some serious... Valentina went out there to make a statement in this fight. Before the fight, Valentina said Andre had nothing for her, and some of the experts believed that Andre would have a grappling advantage or an advantage on the ground, and Valentina went out there to prove a point. She dominated Andre for the entirety of this fight, like a round and a half, took Andre down. Honestly, I think Valentina could have ended this fight whenever the hell she damn well pleased. If she had kept it standing, I think she could have knocked out Andre without question. But it looked like she wanted to make a fucking statement, and with Valentina having won, it looks like she's won her last 7 fights. She's 21-3. Her professional record. She's won her last 7 fights. I mean, beat Jessica Andrade, beat Maya earlier this year. Was it Kogagan in February? Carmouche in August of 2 years ago. That knock when she kicked Jessica I's goddamn head off in the second round. Beautiful setup. Beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I mean, her last loss was to the pound for pound queen, Amanda Nunes. And for those of us who watched that fight, this fight happened, I would say about 4 years ago. Almost 4 years, about 3.5 years ago. This fight happened about 3.5 years ago, and in my personal opinion, 5-round fight. I thought Shevchenko won that fight. I really do. I really believe Shevchenko won that fight. And I know Shevchenko believes she won that fight. But her last 2 losses have come to Amanda Nunes, both by decision. And she's essentially crushed every fighter she's been in the ring with. I mean, she went the distance with Holly Holm. Second round submission, 5-round decision, second round knockout, 3-round decision, third round knockout, 5-round decision, and just a domination of Jessica Andrade. Her next fight has to be against... I think a lot of people want to see her and Nunes do it one more time, and I think they're both better fighters now than they were when they stepped into the octagon the last time. But Valentina has always been like my favorite female fighter. I'm a big fan of her. She's a marvel, just a fantastic striker, complete fighter. So she would be my favorite to win that fight. But that's not where the hell is that thing? There it is. Nope, sorry. But yeah, Valentina took Jessica I down whenever she wanted, put her on the ground, and in the second round, early in the second round, got her in a crucifix and started raining down elbows, and it was over. Over. Next fight is actually quite simple. Weili Zhang and Weili Zhang, or Zhang, I believe it's Zhang. I believe it's Weili Zhang, fought the Interesting. Yeah, Weili Zhang stepped in there and fought one of my favorite nicknames in mixed martial arts, Thug Rose Namajunas. Rose just, I mean, she's won her last 2 fights. She's won 2 of her last 3 fights. 3 of her last 4. Actually, she's been on a win streak, essentially, until she beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice. Beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the strawweight title in 2017, November 2017, and then beat her again in April of 2018 to retain the title, and then lost in kind of like this freak, like, power bomb that Jessica Andrade set up on her. And then Rose got the title back when she and then Andrade went on to lose the championship to Weili Zhang, or Zhang Weili. I don't know how to, I thought it was Weili Zhang, but whatever. Or Zhang Weili, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm sorry about the mix up with the first and last name, but I've been saying Weili Zhang, so I'm going to stick with that. Andrade lost to Weili Zhang when she got like knocked out in the first round, I think. And then Andrade and Namajunas went at it again. Namajunas won 3-round split decision. She got the title shot against Zhang. Andrade got the title shot, moved down to flyweight, and then got the title shot against. Did she move down or move up? I'm trying to remember. I think Weili Zhang moved up. Yeah, Weili Zhang moved up to flyweight to face Valentina Shevchenko. Kind of like the sweet spot between, bantamweight and strawweight. So those two going at it again. But Rose, this was a fairly quick fight. This was a relatively quick fight. I mean, Rose stuck her foot in betwixt Jessica Andrade's lips, and that was it. First round, about 118 in the first round. They were a little dancing around each other a little bit, and then Thug Rose stuck her foot in her mouth, and that was it. They were just dancing around each other, a lot of testing, throwing some jabs, throwing some kicks. But all in all, man, it was just a quick pop from Rose, hit Weili right in the face. And it was absolutely done. I mean, Rose hit Weili so hard that, honestly, Weili, she was done when she hit the ground, and then a couple well-placed hammer fists. Weili didn't even know that she actually lost this fight. I mean, she was pissed, yelling at the ref, until she saw, the Titantron. She didn't know she actually lost. She thought she was still in there. She thought the ref stopped the fight too early, but she was done. She was done. The only reason she was still semi-conscious was because she hit the floor. That was it. That was the only reason Weili Zhang was even semi-conscious. It was simple. She hit the floor. She hit the floor, and it was over. It was done. She hit her so hard, it was wild. Didn't know where the hell she was, and it was flat. Done. Fucking crushed her in her face. And after that, we had the main event, the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman, who is 19-1. He's won his last 18 fights. He's got 9 wins by knockout, 4 successful title defenses. Who he fought against, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, who's 35-15 in his mixed martial arts record, 16 wins by knockout. That he had that ridiculous knockout against what was the dude's name? Ben Askren. This happened 2 years ago. Had that ridiculous first round knockout where he crushed Askren's facing with just like a flying knee, and it was over. Now, if I'm looking into Masvidal's records in the UFC, Masvidal has been in the UFC a long time. Been in the UFC since 2013. He won his first 2 fights. Then he lost his 3rd fight on a fight night. Then he won his next 3 fights. 4, and then lost to Ben Henderson, and then lost again to Larkin, and then beat Parsons, and then beat Ellenberger, and then beat Cerrone, and then lost to Maia, and then lost to Thompson, and then beat Till, and then crushed Askren, and then beat Diaz, and he's lost his last 2 fights, both to Kamaru Usman. The unanimous decision on like 6-day notice, and just a 2nd round knockout that crushed his goddamn jaw. I couldn't believe it when I saw this punch. This was early in the 2nd round. They were fighting each other. They were putting in some work in the 1st round, and at the beginning of the 2nd round, they were a lot of punches. You know, Usman took him down a couple times. They were throwing some haymakers in the 1st round. And at the beginning of the 2nd round, Masvidal got hit with like a straight right hand, and you could see like the sweat come off his face when he hit him. He hit him so hard. It was crazy how hard Masvidal got hit. Masvidal's not exactly the easiest guy to knock out. And I know Kuzman wanted to make a statement with this win, considering the fact that he's not a guy he's like one of those Mortal Kombat fans. He enjoys a flawless victory, and this is what this was. Well, I wouldn't say a flawless victory, but because Ben Askren got some points in there. But this was the kind of victory, an emphatic victory, is what he was hoping for. And like, man, on the button. Oh, just on the button. I mean, he was done. He was done. When he hit the ground, he was done. I'm going to start watching more UFC. I know there's a fight night coming out soon. I don't know what the event, I'm trying to remember what the event, fight night, when did this happen? When will it happen? Yeah, it was UFC fight night. Reyes versus, I have no idea who did it. Pocho something? Pocho-san? I have no idea who the hell that is. Dominic Reyes, number 3 rated light heavyweight against Yuri. I have no idea who the hell this dude is. But I'm going to check out this card, like the main card, not the prelim. The main card is going to be on ESPN plus Fight Night. I like fight nights. Definitely going to watch this one. This one happens tonight, actually. I'm recording on a Saturday. This episode will come out Monday around 1 o'clock noonish. And I can't wait to really get back into mixed martial arts. And these fights were just amazing. This was a great night. The fans were ecstatic. They were so loud. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, we're going to transition over to the NFL draft. That happened very, very, very soon, which started on Thursday. It's actually still going on now, considering that it's Saturday. It's still going on, but who gives a shit? I'm so tired. I'm done with the NFL draft right now. I care about the first round. That's it. That's really the only thing I care about is the first round. All right. Couple tidbits of news before the NFL draft, before the rebate of the NFL draft. We had a trade where the not the San Francisco 49ers, the Carolina Panthers traded Teddy Bridgewater to the Broncos for the 6th round pick, for essentially a 6th round pick, which was interesting considering the fact that the Carolina Panthers didn't actually take a quarterback in the first round of the draft, and they had the chance to. I know they took Jace Horn, but at the time you had both Mac Jones and Justin Fields on the board, so I don't know why you didn't take either one of them at 8. But hey, Do you think? I know they got a quarterback in one of the later rounds. I honestly don't care which one. The Ravens pick up a fifth-year the Ravens and the Browns both pick up fifth-year options on their quarterbacks, which is understandable. Completely understandable when you take into account what happened with Mitch Trubisky and Carson Wentz and what's his name, who plays in Detroit now. God, I know from like the commentary from like Chiseled Adonis's commentary, like Jared Goff and Carson Wentz both signed big contracts after their second or third year. Yeah, around like their second or third year, both signed huge contracts. Around this time, both signed huge contracts, and guess what? Neither one of them are with their teams. Jared Goff is in Detroit. Carson Wentz is in Indianapolis. Him not getting traded, not surprising. Not surprising. The Bucs re-sign Antonio Brown. The Packers make outlandish comments. Aaron Rodgers essentially let out news like right draft day that he's done in Green Bay. He does not want to be a Green Bay Packer anymore. He doesn't want to go back to Green Bay. He has no intention of going back to Green Bay. He has essentially made it perfectly clear that he does not want to go to Green Bay, that he does not want to come back to Green Bay, and it's one of the strangest things, but not so strange considering the fact that for like the last, I'm going to say 8 years, the Green Bay Packers, actually that might be an over-exaggeration, last 6 years anyway, that the Green Bay Packers have essentially been crushing have just been like it's like the scariest thing. The Green Bay Packers have essentially been like for like the last, I want to say since 2016, they have drafted defensive player after defensive player after defensive player. And I know Aaron Rodgers has been great. I know he's been to the NFC Championship game the last 2 years with a shot at the Super Bowl. But these teams are so dependent on Aaron Rodgers that if he makes a single mistake, he's done. If he makes a single mistake, he's done. He will never fight. The burden of proof on him is so tough that their inability to surround him with offensive talent so that as he gets older, hey, if I make a mistake here, that means, I can still get back in there. And the defense that they've been putting together hasn't been a top 10 defense. It's been a good defense, but it hasn't been to the defense you expect when you've been spending so much draft capital on defensive players. And even with Aaron Rodgers making his feelings known, what did they do in the first round of this draft? They drafted a defensive player. Like a giant fuck you to Aaron Rodgers. He's pissed. I'd be pissed too if I was him. And if I know people are making fun of the whole Jeopardy shit, I don't personally care. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, you got to put your foot down on this one. You got to put your foot down on this one. You drafted a quarterback. The first time you move back up into the draft to draft an offensive player, you drafted my replacement, and I just won the MVP. So no. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm making it perfectly clear that you wronged me, and I'm fantastically irritated by it. Just completely annoyed by the fact that you had the gall. You had the gall to draft a quarterback and you didn't even talk to me about it. You just drafted a quarterback. But that's enough of that. NFL draft, first two picks, relatively packed. Everybody, Jacksonville Jaguars were taking Trevor Lawrence. He was going number one overall no matter what. Same thing, like similar to the Andrew Luck draft. He was going number one overall. Everybody knew it. Same thing with the Cam Newton draft. He was going number one overall. Everybody knew it. Number two overall went to Zach Wilson. Went to the New York Jets, who drafted Zach Wilson out of BYU. Okay, he looks like he's 14. Real talk. Zach Wilson looks like he's a 14-year-old kid. How does this dude just pop off like that? He's He legitimately looks 14. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers, who traded up from number, I want to say 12. I'm trying to remember exactly where they traded up from. Yeah, they traded up from 12 to draft Trey Lance, who probably has the biggest upside in this draft. The two safest picks, in my opinion, were probably Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. But Trey Lance probably has the biggest upside. He's got like, and I hate to say this, he has like Patrick Mahomes level upside. He's not, I don't think he'll be anywhere near that good, but he could use a year to sit in Mike Shanahan's offense, which means Jimmy G's probably not going anywhere. The Atlanta Falcons, Hawks, basketball on the brain. The Atlanta Falcons pick up tight end Kyle Pitts, best offensive player in this draft, the best non-quarterback in this draft. The Cincinnati Bengals, instead of taking Penei Sewell from Oregon, they take Jamar Chase from LSU, reuniting him with Joe Burrow out there in Cincinnati. I thought this was a okay pick. I wasn't, thrilled about it. I thought they should have taken Sewell to, keep Burrow upright, but they took Chase, and Chase and Burrow have a phenomenal connection. Burrow was great last year. Hopefully he's still great this year. The Miami Dolphins also did not take Penei Sewell. They took Jalen Waddle. They took Jaden Waddle at 6 from Alabama. And Jalen Waddle, although a very talented wide receiver, I think he'll be good in the NFL. I don't know if he'll be like pro. I don't know if he'll be 6th overall pick, good, like Hall of Fame, good. But I think he'll be a good player in the NFL. Good weapon for Tua. But they probably should have taken Penei Sewell to help keep Tua upright. And the Detroit Lions, they take Penei Sewell at 7 to shore up their offensive line. They've got Jared Goff, who's still young. Maybe they can help turn him around. At 8, J.C. Horn out of South Carolina goes to the Carolina Panthers. Cornerback. This one I thought was weird. I thought the Panthers should have taken. The Panthers, to me, should have, without question, taken. What's his name? Should have taken Justin Fields here. I thought they were going to take Justin Fields here, or at least Mac Jones. Nope, they didn't take anybody. They took a corner, which, I'm not shocked. Maybe they think they can get into the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. But Denver Broncos take Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. Also strange. I thought strange another team who didn't take a quarterback. The Philadelphia Eagles slide up, trade with the Dallas Cowboys at 10 to take Devontae Smith to help Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith, former Heisman Trophy winner. A lot has been made about his weight and his height. Doesn't bother me one bit. Can you play? Can he hoop? If he can hoop, let's go then. If he could ball, he could ball. He can ball. So I think he'll be one of those speedy, Tyreek Hill type wide receivers in the NFL. Bears move up to 11 from 20. Slide right in front of the Dallas Cowboys to take Justin Fields. Now, full disclosure, I'm a Patriots fan, so Justin Fields going at 11. So when Justin Fields went past the Denver Broncos, I knew the Philadelphia 76ers weren't going to trade for him, so I was figuring that the Patriots would move up from 15 to 11 to get Fields. They didn't. The Bears move up from 20 to 11 to get Fields, which is great for the Bears and great for Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy, I hope he knows what he's doing. I think Justin Fields and probably Trevor Lawrence are the two guys who are ready to start. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson are all probably going to start this year. Zach Wilson's the guy. I think he's going to crash and burn. I think Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence are going to be fine. I think Trey Lance has the most upside. I think Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence probably have the highest floor. I think Mac Jones actually does have the highest floor in this draft. He doesn't have the highest ceiling, but he's got the highest floor. Let's see. Offensive tackle Rashawn Slater goes to the Chargers. Micah Parsons, linebacker from Penn State, highest linebacker taken from Penn State since 2000. I want to say, what's his name? LeVar Arrington. to the Dallas Cowboys. They replace, what's his name? Their middle linebacker who just retired. Rashawn Slater goes to Elijah Vera Tucker, guard from USC, goes to New York. The Jets pick up a guard to help protect Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones goes to New England. At the beginning of this draft, this whole draft process, I was one of those guys. I was one of the Patriots fans. I wanted Mac Jones. I thought Mac Jones would be perfect for the New England system. I think he'll sit this year behind Cam Newton. I think that would be even better for him, because give him a year in this offense. I do not want to see him touch the field this year unless it's like in like week 16 or week 17 or week 18. Doesn't matter. I do not want to see him touch this field unless it's like the last half of the week and we're either locked up in the playoffs or we're just not going to make the playoffs. That's what I want for my guy Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Applaud for young Maximus Jones. I was happy with this pick. I like this pick. That's pretty much it for the first round. I don't really care. I kind of stopped watching after this point. There was a couple things that kind of irritated me at the end of the first round. Najee Harris and Travis Etienne going, 24th and 25th. That didn't irritate me. I like to see running backs go into the first round because running backs are is the position that got really screwed over by the rookie wage scale. And by the time they're up for their first big contract, they've already run their best running. They've done their best. You've seen the best that they can be in their first 3 years of their career. They're pretty much done after that. And for most of them, except for like Derrick Henry, who's essentially found the fountain of youth. But other than that, I didn't really care after 15. After 15, the Patriots were the one I was waiting for. I wanted to see if the Patriots would move up. I figured they were probably going to get a quarterback. I was hoping they would get Fields, but I'm okay with Jones. Now that's it for the NBA draft. For the NFL draft, we're going to move on to the NBA. NBA rankings haven't really changed much. The San Antonio Spurs and the Boston Celtics played last night. Jason Tatum became, I believe, the youngest player. Was it the youngest? I think he might have been the youngest player to drop 60 points and the first Celtic player in history to have multiple 50-point games in a season. He dropped 68 and 5 last night against the San Antonio Spurs. DeMar DeRozan, one of the most underrated players in the NBA, dropped 30 points with 14 assists. DeJounte Murray gave you 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. The Portland Trailblazers played the Brooklyn Nets, blew out the Nets from start to finish. Kevin Durant did not play this game. He had D&D, did not play due to injury or illness or diagnosis or whatever the hell happened. I'm so over this load management crap. And the Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Lakers played. What's significant about this game? One thing, LeBron James returned. Anthony Davis had a really good game, actually. 22 points, 11 rebounds. He was 9 for 19 from the field. He's getting better and better as the season goes on. And LeBron James just got back. I think the Lakers are going to spend like the next 10, 11 games trying to essentially create some chemistry with some of the new guys on the roster. And hopefully, the Lakers can get this shit together, man. I want to see the Lakers win a championship. I want to see the Lakers go back to back, and I think the Lakers have a fantastic chance to three-peat, and that's what I want to see. And as for whoever's going to win the MVP, I think who should win the MVP and who will win the MVP are two different things. I think who should win the MVP is actually quite simple. It should be Nikola Jokic. He's been the healthiest. He's got the game. He's got the numbers, and LeBron James got hurt. He's missed 20 games. Anthony Davis missed 40 games. Joel Embiid missed like 15 games. Missed like 10, 15 games. James Harden's going to miss the rest of the regular season. So Nikola Jokic should be the essential runaway MVP. He should. I don't think there's really enough issue for anyone else to get it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 30 of the SJP Files, the first episode on our Spreaker show. This episode will come out Monday, May 3rd. I might add on to some to it. But for right now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Like and subscribe for the show. You can hit me up on Twitter at the SJP Files. If you have any questions, DM me. Let me know if there's any topic I missed that you want me to talk about.